The Taklamakan Desert in northwest China is known by a name that sends chills down the spine of anyone who knows its history: the Sea of Death. It is the second largest shifting sand desert in the world, covering 337,600 square kilometers, a vast and inhospitable expanse of shifting dunes that has swallowed entire civilizations, buried ancient cities, and claimed the lives of countless travelers who dared to cross its unforgiving expanse. For millennia, this desert was a biological void, a place where nothing could survive and nothing could grow, a place that was expanding relentlessly, swallowing farmland, burying roads, and encroaching on oases at a rate of 2 to 3 meters every single year. The Taklamakan was not just a desert. It was a threat that was growing, expanding, and consuming everything in its path. For decades, the world had been told that desertification is an unstoppable force, that once the sand begins to move, there is nothing that can be done to stop it, and that the only response is to retreat, to abandon the land, and to accept the inevitable advance of the desert. This narrative has been used to justify the abandonment of entire regions, the displacement of millions of people, and the acceptance of a future in which vast swathes of the planet become uninhabitable. But the Chinese government refused to accept this narrative. It refused to accept that the desert was unstoppable, that the land was lost, and that the people who lived on the edge of the desert were doomed to be displaced. Instead, it launched an audacious, unprecedented, and seemingly impossible project to encircle the Taklamakan Desert with a green belt, a green Great Wall, that would halt the advance of sand and reclaim the land for agriculture, for communities, and for life. In November 2024, after more than 4 decades of relentless effort, the project achieved a historic milestone. The largest desert in China, the Taklamakan, was completely encircled by a green belt stretching 3,046 kilometers, the world's longest green ecological barrier of its kind. This was not just a victory for China. It was a victory for humanity, a demonstration that even the most inhospitable environments can be reclaimed, that even the most degraded lands can be restored, and that the advance of the desert can be halted. The project was globally recognized and was listed among the 2025 top 10 global engineering achievements by the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. But the world is only beginning to understand the full significance of this achievement and the profound implications it holds for the future of our planet. To truly understand the magnitude of what has been achieved, we must first understand the scale of the challenge that the Chinese government faced. The Taklamakan Desert is not just any desert. It is the second largest shifting sand desert in the world, covering an area of 337,600 square kilometers, a vast and inhospitable expanse that has been expanding for centuries, consuming everything in its path. The desert posed a significant threat to the surrounding ecological environment, burying roads, river channels, and farmland, and encroaching on oases at a rate of 2 to 3 meters every year. The people who lived on the edge of the desert faced a constant struggle, battling sandstorms that would rip away the plastic film covering their fields, destroy their cotton seedlings, and often lead to reduced or zero yields. In 1978, the Chinese government launched the 3 North Shelter Belt Forest Program, the world's largest afforestation program, to tackle desertification. The program was designed to create a green Great Wall across northern China, a vast belt of trees and vegetation that would halt the advance of the desert and protect the country's most vulnerable regions. The program was scheduled to be completed by 2050, and it aimed to encompass over 4 million square kilometers across 13 provincial-level regions, accounting for 42.4% of the country's total land area. Over the past 46 years, China has expanded its afforestation area by 32 million hectares under the program, and the forest coverage rate of the areas under the program has risen from 5.05% to 13.84%. The encirclement of the Taklamakan Desert was the most ambitious and challenging component of this program. The desert is the largest in China, and its shifting sands pose a formidable challenge to any attempt to control it. Over more than 40 years, the desert was gradually encircled with a green belt, connecting scattered oases across the Xinjiang region. By the end of 2023, a 2,761-kilometer stretch of the belt had been completed, leaving only the most challenging section to finish. The final stretch, approximately 285 kilometers long, running through areas along the southern edge of the desert, where it faces the most severe wind and sand hazards. It was this final, most difficult section that was completed in November 2024, sealing the desert's fate and transforming the Sea of Death into a thriving ecosystem. The achievement of encircling the Taklamakan Desert was not the result of a single solution, but a comprehensive, multi-layered, and deeply integrated system of ecological engineering that combined cutting-edge technology, traditional techniques, and innovative approaches to land management. The hidden power of this project lies in the way it integrated engineering, biological, and industrial solutions tailored to local conditions, including water scarcity and extreme winds. The first layer of this system is a grass checkerboard stabilization technique. Before a single seed is planted, grids of straw are buried in the sand to block wind movement and stabilize the dunes. This creates a micro-ecosystem that holds on to just enough moisture to support the growth of drought-resistant trees and shrubs. In Inciting County, a region frequently battered by gales, this model reduced land leveling costs by 82% while boosting vegetation survival rates to 85%. The second layer is the cultivation of drought-resistant vegetation. Over 20 million drought-tolerant plants, including saxaul and rose willow, have been planted along the Darim Desert Highway alone, creating a 436-kilometer-long shelter belt. The project also integrated photovoltaic systems and eco-agriculture, using solar power to extract brackish groundwater for drip irrigation. These technologies are being integrated into the project, enhancing the resilience of the ecological barrier. The third layer is the economic transformation. The project has not only created a green barrier, but has also generated economic opportunities for local communities. Residents have become active participants in desertification control, returning to their hometowns to spearhead ecological restoration initiatives. In Hotan County alone, cumulative desert control efforts have reached 61,800 mu, benefiting 1,278 households and revitalizing local ecosystems. One couple, Tursenbach Mamathet and Sudime Tursen, co-founded a cooperative with 18 other households to cultivate sand dates on 1,000 mu of reclaimed desert land. The fourth layer is the scientific validation. The project has been recognized not just for its scale, but for its effectiveness. NASA's Orbiting Carbon Observatory has identified a CO2 cold spot over the area, with atmospheric carbon levels during the growing season being 1 to 2 ppm lower than the surrounding baseline. The area is now functioning as a net carbon sink, storing millions of tons of CO2 per year. This is concrete evidence that even the most extreme arid landscapes can be transformed into carbon sinks. The significance of the Taklamakan project extends far beyond the borders of China, offering a blueprint for planetary-scale ecological engineering that could transform the way the world approaches desertification, climate change, and sustainable development. The project has demonstrated that significant degradation can be reversed by huge, coordinated human intervention, providing concrete evidence that ecological defeatism is not justified. The first ripple is the application of Chinese techniques in Africa. The China-Africa Green Technology Park is a key demonstration project supporting Africa's Great Green Wall Initiative, which was launched in 2007 to create a 7,000-kilometer ecological barrier across northern Africa and the Sahel to combat desertification. Techniques forged in the sands of the Taklamakan are now being used to green the Sahel, offering a message of hope to the global fight against desertification. The second ripple is the global recognition of the project's significance. The Taklamakan Desert Greenbelt Project was listed among the 2025 Top 10 Global Engineering Achievements by the World Federation of Engineering Organizations, demonstrating that the project is being recognized as a model for ecological engineering on a planetary scale. The third ripple is the shift in the global narrative on desertification. The success of the Taklamakan project challenges the long-held assumption that desertification is an unstoppable force. It demonstrates that with sustained effort, innovative technology, and political will, even the most inhospitable environments can be restored. This is a powerful message for the world's dryland regions, which cover more than 40% of the Earth's land surface and are home to more than 2 billion people. The fourth ripple is the potential for the project to serve as a model for other countries facing similar challenges. The techniques developed in the Taklamakan project, from grass checkerboard stabilization to photovoltaic-powered irrigation, can be adapted and applied in other arid regions around the world. The project is not just a Chinese achievement. It is a global achievement, a demonstration of what is possible when humanity comes together to address the most pressing challenges of our time. Despite the remarkable success of the Taklamakan project, the world is facing a critical challenge that will determine whether the lessons learned can be applied on a global scale. The first challenge is the need to accelerate the pace of ecological restoration. The Taklamakan project took more than 4 decades to complete, but the world does not have 4 decades to wait. The climate crisis is accelerating, and the need for action is urgent. The second challenge is the need to scale up investment in ecological restoration. The Taklamakan project was a massive undertaking that required billions of dollars in investment. The world needs to mobilize similar levels of investment for projects in other arid regions, including Africa's Great Green Wall, which aims to restore 100 million hectares of degraded land, sequester 250 million tons of carbon, and create 10 million green jobs in 11 Sahelian countries by 2030. The third challenge is the need to transfer technology and expertise from China to other countries. The Chinese government has already begun to share its expertise through the China-Africa Green Technology Park. But much more needs to be done to ensure that the techniques and technologies developed in the Taklamakan project are accessible to the countries that need them most. The fourth challenge is the need to address the underlying drivers of desertification. The Taklamakan project was successful in halting the advance of the desert, but it did not address the root causes of desertification, including climate change, unsustainable land use, and population pressure. The world needs to address these underlying drivers if it is to achieve a lasting solution to the problem of desertification. The future of the world's dryland regions is a future of uncertainty, shaped by the choices that we make today. 2 paths lie ahead, 2 completely different destinies. In the first path, the world learns from the success of the Taklamakan project and applies its lessons on a global scale. The techniques developed in China are adapted and applied in Africa, Asia, and the Americas. The advance of the desert is halted, degraded lands are restored, and the world's dryland regions become thriving ecosystems that support millions of people. In the second path, the world fails to learn the lessons of the Taklamakan project. The advance of the desert continues unchecked, and the world's dryland regions become increasingly uninhabitable. The climate crisis accelerates, and the world's most vulnerable populations are displaced, creating a humanitarian catastrophe of unprecedented proportions. The question is not whether we can halt the advance of the desert. The question is whether we have the will to do so. The map never lies, but the people drawing it always have a reason. We just saw the largest desert greening project, but there is one nation quietly building an alternative to the Chinese model. That is the next journey. Which future do you believe? Comment Future 1 or Future 2, and subscribe to Atlas Beyond so you never miss the next journey.